Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another in our APPI uh, Learn by Doing series. Um, Today, we are going to be doing a focus on feedback, which we've done before, because it's always important to recognize that precognition begins with the feedback session. However, we're going to be paying a lot of attention to a new subject that I really haven't focused on before, and it's very important, and I'm looking forward to doing it today and getting some of your reactions to it. And this has to do with the whole idea of opening yourself up to your consciousness being fundamental. We talk about consciousness being fundamental. Consciousness is fundamental, but how do we make that personal, and how, in fact, do you use it to your advantage? And I think an important part of that is to get this idea that whether or not you know it, you are creating a psi-personality. And to do that consciously can be of great benefit. So we're going to talk about that first, and then we're actually going to catch up on some older month-long predictions. We've got 3 of them to do, and we'll do examples, one example from each one of those, and that'll be pretty good because one's a hit, one's a miss, and one's a pass. So we'll begin to get the flavor of what the differences are under those conditions. And then we will do another month-long prediction. So the standard remote viewing and judging session, I'll be asking you to upload your sessions after we do the judging. Send them to me, and then the feedback will be a month from now, just like the ones we're going to be doing. Okay, so I've shown this several times. It's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards, the Queen remarked, and that's from Alice in Wonderland. And this idea of future memory, precognition, PMH Atwater, we had a very nice talk with her. And she just gave her examples of this, but this goes back as far as recorded history. The Greeks did this with the God, I'm blanking. Anyway, this goes back as far as we know. Precognition, stuff like that, has been around literally as long as there is recorded history. And in terms of understanding ARV, once you accept this concept of precognition, then associative remote viewing is really a natural and easy application of it, and it's easy to appreciate. And let me just see if I can make that clear. So once you accept that precognition is real, associative remote viewing in linear time starts with the remote viewing session. We're going to talk about that, but that's where you generate a transcript describing and sketching what you're going to see at feedback time, which is the 3rd step, and in between we do judging. So there's remote viewing, judging, and then the feedback session where you actually get your target. Now, since precognition is real, the truth of whatever your target is, the truth is known here. And this is really a good place to start. And this is why we always talk about when you're doing purposeful precognition, it actually begins with your feedback session. And understanding this, paying attention to your feedback is really an important part. Now, in linear time, we begin with a remote viewing session, and the tasking is really quite easy. Describe and sketch your, and we use a 6-digit coordinate. Other people use letters. Some people use a date, but we use 6 digits. So describe your some coordinate, feedback, target. This coordinate is associated with the feedback target that you're going to see here during your feedback session. Um, very pretty straightforward. But the thing to remember is that your target now is a photo site in the work that we do. Um, in the past, targets could be virtually anything. They could be ideas. They could be the name of somebody. Remote viewers have all kinds of targets, physical sites. They try to get into people's minds sometimes. Lots of potential targets. We use what's called a photo site. Now, a photo site is a photo, but it is all the information you can pick up by having your consciousness be at the physical site when the photo was taken. And that's in fact what a photo does. It's like a transfer. It takes you to the physical site at the time it was taken, and you can pick up, if there was motion there, you would be able to pick that up from the photograph. In addition to the colors that you get directly from the photo, if there are smells there or tastes, if there's food there and people eating it, you'll actually be able, as a remote viewer, to taste those things. So a photo site contains everything that you could pick up at the site when the photo was taken with your consciousness. The other part of it is it's things which can be verified from the photo. So I don't care about something that's 100 feet away outside the field of view if I can't verify it. So it's got to be easily verifiable from the photo. So that's what a photo site is. Okay, but the target is the photo site. We're going to be talking about this. None of it intellectually matters. When you do your remote viewing session, you're going to go down deep into your consciousness and you're going to describe and sketch this photo site. Okay. Now, the only thing I haven't talked about yet is this word association. Okay, we'll talk about the judging now with associations, because what we are associating with are two possible choices. ARV can be used with multiple choices. We've even used it with the Kentucky Derby with 20 choices. But we've settled in on 2 as really being the best way, we think, for the long term. And the 2 choices we are typically focusing on have to do with either sports or financial outcomes. So for sports, it might be team A, team B, or it might be a wager over some line that a bookie has set up or under. There might be a favorite team with points versus the underdog. But 2 possible choices. They can all come down to yes/no questions. Will team A win this next game? Will the market move up tomorrow? Yes or no? So that's what we mean by binary association. So it's associated with 2 possible outcomes. Let's say yes or no. Well, what we then do in associative remote viewing is associate yes with one photo site and no with another photo site. So each of those are 2 possible targets. The actual target is determined by what actually happens. So if we ask the question, will the stock market be up tomorrow, yes or no, we have one picture for yes, a second picture for no. If the answer is no, we show the second picture as the target. So only one of the 2 potential potential targets becomes the actual target. And that's the truth. So that's the truth about what actually happened based on the yes, no answer. It's that simple. Period. And so that's how the target is determined, associated with a yes, no question. And all of that should not confuse you, because we do a lot of self-judging here where we'll see both of these. But guess what? The target is what you're going to see at feedback, and that's the training. The number of images that you see in your life are enormous, right? Okay, learning how to focus on one target is one of the amazing things that remote viewers do all the time. They're given a task, it's blind, they go ahead and they're able to focus on it based on intention, attention, and expectation. And that's what we do here. So the focus is on the target being what you see at feedback time. So I hope you agree that ARV really, the idea of it is quite easy. The magic is in the remote viewing and paying attention to the feedback target and learning really about your personal consciousness. So the task, describe and sketch your feedback target with some coordinate that is attached to that feedback target, as well as your transcript. Now I ask you, deep down in your gut, do you believe you can do precognition? I want to start getting personal now. And you're probably going to say yes, but because you're here, you probably wouldn't be here if you didn't. And the new kind of information and focus that I would like you to begin to think about and feel about yourself is this idea of really making all of this personal, because indeed it is. We always talk about it, and you probably very often think about it in general terms. The fact is, it's quite personal. And I'm going to use symbols like this to try to show how it all kind of relates. This is the I and a psi for psychic, or, well, let's say psychic, precognition. And this is you. So this is the, even the word you is not very personal. So this is I, psi. So this represents you, and this black is, we don't really know where you start, where you end, how big you really are. We're all actually deeper and more connected than we believe we are. But that's the symbol. That's the symbol I'll use. Now, by making it personal, when somebody uses Play-Doh, we often use Play-Doh or clay or something in addition to transcripts when we try to describe and sketch a target we're seeing in the future. When a person does something like this, it becomes personal. They get it really deep down in them. This was this transcript that this person did, happened to be a newbie. And I rarely now show, the great remote viewer work anymore, because we get great remote viewers from people just like you. You see something like this, and here was the blind target. And not only is precognition real, but you really can get this key concept that it's this feedback target that in somehow is causing this transcript to be generated. This is what we call entanglement. This transcript and this target and also this Play-Doh work are all strongly entangled. Scientists are now beginning to call that retrocausality. So precognition is sort of looking things into the future. Retrocausality is sending that information back in some fashion. Now, once you kind of get that, here's how, you know, um, here's sort of how I think it works in the most important way. As a scientist, I'm trying to work it in occasionally. In fact, often I'll try to connect it up with quantum mechanics and all that. But ultimately, it really has to do with consciousness is fundamental and psychology. So let's look at the mind, right? The brain we know is the physical part of it, but the mind is like the non-physical part of it somehow. And there was a whole article in Scientific American devoted to the unconscious mind. First thing I want to do is sounds like not, and there is no such thing as not consciousness. So I prefer to use the word subconscious. And here's a symbol for I, and you may not be able to see it, but that says sub there. So this might be the symbol for whatever the subconscious mind is. And again, it's got vague definitions around it, but we kind of have an idea that the subconscious mind, we know there's something a lot under the C.M here, which is the conscious mind. Okay, so we have a conscious mind, which is what you know best. That's what you're experiencing right now. Okay, your conscious mind is in the now moment, and you know this for sure. Whatever it is you're experiencing, that's what your conscious mind does. And yet it has this wonderful ability of memory, both past memory and future memory. All of that is somehow down here in the subconscious mind. You have a physical body. Your physical body is run not by your conscious mind, it's somehow run by your subconscious mind. You have an autoimmune system that protects you. You get all kinds of stuff. Your heart beats. You don't know how, or even how that works, but somehow it's taken care of for you. Isn't that marvelous? Now, here's another thing which is an important part of all of this in terms of psychology, and that's your ego. And when I use the word ego, I use that really in a positive sense. The ego is what gets you navigated through your day. The ego is your connection with the physical world. It's pretty much maybe what you think you are most of the time. It's your intellectual part. It's not all of you, but it's sort of what you think you are in terms of how you interact with the physical world. Okay, so and again, it's fuzzy and we can look up different definitions, but I think you have an idea of what your personal ego is all about. Now, we know there are connections between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, right? And there's a lot which starts down here. Your beliefs, your ideas, your emotions, which then cause actions, and they give you thoughts and feelings. And people always make this distinction between feelings and emotions, and I actually think that's very important. I've seen them reversed in terms of which is which, but deep down, I'm calling this is where these emotions come. The emotion of pure love, which you've felt. Lots of emotions are down here, and then they come up, and then you feel them in the conscious mind, and you have your thoughts and actions from ideas which start down here, and you do stuff, okay? But recognize, and I'm sure you do, so I'm just sort of bringing this into your local consciousness, that this goes both ways. Your actions, things that you think about because of stuff that happens to you up here, affects your beliefs, affects your ideas and emotions. This seems to be the way we develop. And in linear time, this is clearly minds under construction. I love that because that's what's going on. This is all going on during time, right? And it starts out when you're rather young and you develop. You get older and you're just learning. It's kind of amazing. All of this stuff teaches you remarkable things. It's we're remarkable creatures, frankly. And then these emotions, start very young, even earlier than this. But this sort of shows examples of emotions. And then during all this time, you've got different levels of personality. Um, okay, so you're growing up and building up all these beliefs and ideas, and you're having your emotions. Um, but this idea of personality, it seems very clear that multiple personalities are quite normal. Yeah, we know those few cases where they're so distinct that they're called a disorder, and they are a disorder. Your personalities tend to overlap and intermix, but you've got them. There's a mother, but you know what? Inside this mother is still her child, and she's interacting with a child here, who has her own kind of multiple personalities already based on what's going on in her subconscious and how that's all organized. When you're a working person, you're in a very different mindset, a very different mode than as a mother. It's a different personality. When you're doing your sports, it's a different personality. So I think this is conceptually things which you can get. I think basically agree with. But now once you're here, let's now talk about the psi-Personality. Okay? You have all these other ones in you already. The fact that you're here, you've been building up a psi-Personality already. When you do the psychic work, when you do your ARV work, when you've had any sort of experience, in a way, it is building up a psi-Personality. How did you react to all of this that's going on? Okay, you're in your kind of psi-Personality mode. Now, one of the things which I think is clear is that the conscious and subconscious minds somehow are cooperating to provide this precognitive information in the now moment. And it's this I psi that is somehow putting it all together. I mean, here you have your conscious mind. Here you have your subconscious mind. Down there I put the ego. I mean, let's face it, our ego, our intellect, it, and most of us go through moments where we still don't believe that this is possible. It intellectually doesn't get it. And we all, I think, have accepted the fact that this idea of getting quiet and cool down is helpful to quiet that ego chattering kind of mind, the one that's attached to the physical world, and get connected with the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Now, this really is like an intermediary, connected, of course. These fuzzy boundaries are connected. And I do want to bring in just this whole idea that these connections are not only to each other, but they're connected to something which is bigger than you. And I think that perspective is important. I call this the universe of collective consciousness. Ingo Swann called it the matrix. Other people give it different names. But I think we all know there's like a place, past, present, and future conscious moments all exist there. Everything is there, in every place through all time. This is what is being accessed by what we call your subconscious. So you're going even deeper where this information is, and it's through your psychic self that you connect it with the conscious mind, so the ego can do a transcript. So that's how this all works. Now, here's where all this is now leading. It is now leading to the fact that the perspective of each of us, of you, of me, creating our personal psi-personality is a very valuable way of looking at all of this. That you are the creator of this. It's all of your experiences that you have in the now moment go down and somehow get organized, and you create all of these sub-personalities. Well, let's consciously create our psi-personality, and let's figure out ways how to improve it. Okay? And this creation process is a combination of intention, motivation, emotions, feelings, thoughts, expectations, attention, actions, all the kind of stuff that we do in our kind of normal life when we're creating things. And this is the beautiful thing which I really wanted to share with you, in an effortful fashion. Now, this word effortful, I'm not sure I'd ever used it before I got into this Scientific American article, and this is where this word came from. So these guys did a study, and effortful is taken from this study, this analysis. And what they did is they analyzed all kinds of the very best in their field. Chess players, okay, sports, musicians, artists, but the top of the field. So what was the secret of the expert mind? Okay, that's kind of a wonderful question to ask. And here is what they said. What matters is not experience per se, but effortful study, which entails continually tackling challenges that lie just beyond one's competence. I thought that was so beautiful. Tackling challenges that lie just beyond one's competence. So that's how you get better and better. You know, the athletes always talk about they don't care what anybody else is doing. They just want to do their personal best. The runner wants to get that extra tenth of a second when he's doing the 100-yard dash. You know, what does it take to get that little extra? Tackling challenges that lie just beyond one's competence. Now that fits so beautifully with the psi-personality, because no matter where we are, how good we are now, how bad we are now, but really how good we are now, because we all have this capability. Almost all of us have displayed it in one way or another already. We know there are areas we can get better. Some people complain they can't do colors. They wish they would get more imagery. They wish they would get more words. Well, guess what? You get to do that during your feedback session. You get to work on those sorts of things and get better at it. And consciously tackling these issues, taking them on as challenges, is what it takes to get better. And I happen to believe you can always get better. They indicated here in the same article, even the novice engages in effortful study at first. And it's sort of interesting because we know that. We know that beginner's luck is real. We've seen it many, many, many times. And he's doing effortfulness, following directions and all that. He's not worrying about a lot of the stuff that we think about, you know, as you get more experienced in this. Just did it. And in contrast, and this is kind of the key, Experts in training keep the lid of their mind's box open. So they keep their mind open all the time, looking for ways to improve. Thus, its motivation, wanting to do this effortful study, it's this motivation to do that, appears to be a more important factor than innate ability in the development of expertise. This is, in my mind, so significant because this was a scientific study which basically says anybody can get the Carnegie Hall, sort of. There was always that debate, and I've heard a lot of people, even in our field, say that there's just a natural talent that you're born with, and everybody can take it only so far. I can play chopsticks on the piano. I'm no longer a believer that. I have jumped to this side, which says if your motivation can stay there, you can keep getting better and better. Most people, and of course we see it in this field, and you see it in most fields, most people will stop. They lose the motivation, and there's nothing wrong with that. They decide they want to put their effort someplace else. But if this is where you want to put your effort there and do it in an effortful fashion. Keep just pushing and just push a little bit at a time. And that seems to be the secret of the expert mind. Okay, so, create it. It's yours, right? This is your personality, your psi-Personality. Your journey here is where the physical reality and non-physical reality come together. Precognition is indeed very personal. You know that, and you start wherever you are. I happen to believe your precognition can be improved basically forever. When you get connected with this UCC, the oneness of everything, past, present, future, all there is, however you want to call it, then you're done. But even that is forever. So you can just get better and better at this in ways that you're motivated to do. And this is your creation. So do your ARV sessions in effortful fashions. Look for those challenges that you can take on and improve. And whether it's in the remote viewing session, whether it's in knowing you need to get rid of blocks, which will improve you. We've recently been talking about blocks and tapping and energy control and stuff like that. You're going to be looking at ways to improve, which include how to do that. And then I really believe it's important to smoothly integrate this into your life. This is a significant thing we're actually taking on, each of us. Precognition is kind of amazing. This is really cutting edge stuff. You're a person who believes the world of consciousness is not flat. Okay, constantly maintaining a positive and focused intention, attention, and expectation, and enjoying it. I'm not even sure I put that there, but if you're not enjoying it, I think you should stop. So that may be the positive part. And you can consciously guide your emotions. Emotions are a big part of this. We've known this for a long time. We've been talking about it more and more recently. Your feelings about all of this are an important part of it. And watching them, watching what your consciousness gives you, the thoughts, yes, the ideas, yes, but also the emotions and the feelings that you're getting and experiencing are kind of valuable guides. And sometimes, and eventually, you'll learn how to distinguish those emotions that are at the site versus your own personal emotions. And certainly during feedback session, that's when you'll easily distinguish your own personal emotions and feelings. Okay, and then actions. And we're doing that. ARV is a rather direct action. And then through this, building up confidence, and you'll gain that normally, and fighting that lack of confidence when you get a miss. It's almost like the miss is there so that you get to do some effortful work to get better. I've come to believe that. The old expression, you learn more from the misses than the hits. All of that is true. And know that for the long term, this is the confidence is the long term. We all have the hiccups, which are learning opportunities. Okay, we're about to go on. Maybe are there any questions or comments that? Okay, I'm looking at the chat box now. That anybody would like to say about this portion of it? Because now we're going to go on to the feedback. And Lila, I'm sorry you're having. I'm looking at the chat box now. Yeah, your subconscious is your co-pilot. That's exactly right. That's beautiful. Okay. Okay, let's move forward. So, a summary about the ARV. We're about to get into the feedback, but in linear time, of course, we started over a month ago doing the remote viewing sessions and judging for the feedback sessions we're going to see now. But seeing the truth point is what better way? Yeah, a lot of people saying it's true that you can do remote viewing and never get feedback. But I can tell you the remote viewers loved it when they got feedback. And when they started out and were doing fantastically well at Stanford Research, they made a big deal out of feedback. They take people out to physical sites that they were viewing. And so feedback was just automatically made a big deal. And so now we make it a big deal with our photo sites. Here are the three. This is a table of the month plus long predictions we've been doing with these classes. So here's a question, prediction, outcome, and here's the actualized dates. And so these are the three that we're going to be doing. 2 with Google, 1 with SPY. The first one is over 1,000, and then later we'll be doing this one, which is the SPY daily. Okay, so let's just jump right in with the Google being over 1,000 on June 23rd. We said no, and in fact, that was a hit. Okay, the next one was a miss. Google Net is still not over 1,000, but we asked that question again with a different date. Okay, so now let's do the first one. So the first question you would ask as a newbie is, how do I get my feedback target? Well, everything is done online and through the internet. And so we do this through email, and we use a server that's got programs in it that choose the pictures and things like that. So let's in fact go now. And there's always a group manager. I'm acting as our group manager, who will have sent out this email. Now, he's the same one that a month ago or more sent out the tasking email, and you'll see an example of that in the future. But right now, it will look something like this. Let's make sure we have the right one. No, it was over. Okay, so the one we're looking for is, will the Google be over 1,000? We had said no. So you can see in this email, it states what the event is. The winning side was no. We got a group hit. So all of this is what the group manager gives you. And then the program gives you this link. So we will click on this link. Now each person, let me make this bigger just so you can see it. Each person will put in their own email address because each person generally gets their own feedback target. They're different. When we're doing these together, they're all the same. Some groups now actually have them the same, but most of the groups, they're individual and they're different. But in any case, you need to put in your own email address so that we can keep statistics on your personal prediction. Now here we just made a group prediction. So all of this is really quite user friendly. All you do is put in your name and then you click here for feedback and there is the feedback. Okay. So for coordinate 929068, and I always say it out loud, this is the feedback target. The next step will be to do the feedback session and then to type in here something which then goes over to the server and is saved, something, to your benefit, something about how it went, how you felt, because this information is all saved and it helps you in the future. So now let's go back here. So now let's do some feedback sessions. So I copied that. This is, remember there were two choices? Well, this happens to be the first, this happens to be what we call photo site A. The other one is photo site B. Now, okay, so this is the transcript we're going to go over now and learn and do a feedback session on. Okay, Ramel, you're here, good, but let me talk about this first before we'll actually have Ramel do a feedback session, but I want you to understand this. Again, these are learn by doing classes with newbies as well as old bees. I see we have here. So you're now in a feedback session. You have your target. You have your transcript. Notice with the coordinate here, which was the coordinate on the top here. I always like to say it out loud. It acts like a beacon because you say it out loud when you do your transcript. And so 929068. Now what matters is that Ramel do that because it's his vibrations that connect up with the original time. Now you see this A and B? These are judgments. You can see the different colors. Our standard approach is to use a different color pen, different type pen, which for the judging. So what you see here are photo site. If he saw in his transcript the match with photo site A, he put an A there. So here he saw a match with A, and he also saw a match with photo site B, which we're not thinking about very much, and we don't want to. We want to focus on this target. I'm now looking at the target. You're looking at the target. You're seeing the rocks. You're seeing the ocean. You're paying attention to it. It's like you're lighting it up in consciousness space. In fact, I think we're even helping Ramel light it up, but he's doing this now, of course, as well. And there's some things which didn't get marked at all. Okay, so it didn't match either one, but he matched a bunch of A's here. Notice he uses, and this is really a good practice, if it matches A but not as strongly, he'll give a lowercase. He'll use a lowercase a. And on this page, you can see he had lots of A's. He's got 3 pages. Most people do 1, 2, some 3 pages. Some do more. They do full sessions. Okay, so that's the meaning of these A and B's here in terms of when he did the judging. And when he did the judging was when he then, based on a Targ scale I'm going to show you after we go through Mel here, is a judging of 0 to 7. And so he gave the photo side A comparison a confidence ranking of 5.5 and then B of 3. 3.5 is wagerable. This was very strong. So he said, I have a strong match with photo site A, which was associated randomly with no. So he got a personal hit, and then he also helped the group get a hit. So Ramel, why don't you turn on your mic and let's go through your 3 pages and kind of do it. Tell us about how you would do your feedback and almost do your feedback session, but it's hard because you don't have paper in front of you.
Yeah. Now I'm very excited, like, awesome, this is great. I see this rising upwards on my description. And it's like rising upwards. There's also floating high. It's not floating, but then there's a sense of floating, which means to me water or certain sense of an elevation. So that's like, oh, this is great. So mushroom, yeah, that looks like a mushroom to me. The color of the mushroom is also significant. So that's like a small A, which is great. So all I want right now is really celebrating the fact that I got it. So it's like, oh, this is the fluid. Like, oh my God, this is great. So this is fluid. So that's definitely a hit. There's another one, like the rising up, crescendo. So to me, it's like this thing's rising up. It's like, that's really great. So I celebrate that. Like, oh yeah, this too is rising up. And so I move on. And let's see. There's also this element of feeling small on the first page. It's like, oh yeah, there's a small thing in here too. Let's see, I'm looking at this at the first time as well. It's just good. So this is another thing rising up. See this, the certain element of that, and this too, that. So I would always look at that as well. There's a sense of like a parameter. It's like it's contained somehow. So in a way, this is contained. And it's not mixed into the water. So to me, that's significant as well. Hard, rough, blackened, that's blackened right here, shadows as well. Rugged, and even AOL as a volcanic rock. Calling it a rock to me is just a hit. So it's a capital A to me. I even put like a star in there if I need to. So that to me generates like an excitement, like, oh, good, love it, love it, love it. And then I'll look at it more. It's like, oh, container. There's no container in there. Protecting, shielding. So somehow I don't see that part. But there's an emphasis here that the volcanic rocks really resonates with me. That even sometimes when I go on with my session and I feel like I need to just purge it out because it would not leave me. Like certain sense of the volcanic rock, I would write a little S2.5, which is like just a little summary of it. And so I don't have to keep drawing it or keep putting AOL of the same thing, the volcanic rock. And I'll just purge it out. Like, I sense I'm up in a mountainous, rugged terrain, somewhere, I guess, in Hawaii. That's significant because Hawaii is loaded with rocks and ocean as well. So an island, so volcanic rocks all around me, high elevation. I don't see people in there, but it's a magnificent spectacle. In a way, it's magnificent when you see this happen because it's really amazing when you see this. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that already. The flowing part is, I think that's significant to B as well. So I would write like a big B as well in here. So that's flowing over there.
Why a B?
Wait a minute. Isn't this? Oh, this is A, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
flowing
yeah,
for
this
the
is A.
ocean.
Oh, yeah. I just confused it with A and B. Correct. So that's definitely an A. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm moving fast. Page
He's got
3.
control of the mouse, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, page 3. Okay. Windy. A, windy. moving steadily, tastes fresh, tastes the fresh water. There's another significant thing. There's always this, as you observe, my subconscious is telling me it's always there's an elevation here. There's an elevation since like page 1 and 2. So it just repeats itself, and then it adds more layer to it, of which this is significant. You know, all this bubbly thing in here, the froth of the ocean water. And then I can see another one like this. That's kind of like significant as well. So this is really good. I see that there's water, there's volcanic rock, so I gave it a 5.5.
Okay, wait.
Oops, sorry.
Okay, now go back to last. Or okay, I'll
Uh,
go. Wait, let me.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, let me take control again.
Okay, you got
Yeah,
this.
I can give you control, which is kind of cool, and that's what I did here. But I want you to do one other thing, which I always ask you, and I know you usually do this. What
To
would
draw
you
it.
add? What would you do that you wish would have made it a little bit better? You know, communicate with your
Oh,
subconscious. Hey, this was great. Thank you, and I wish you would have.
hmm I would like draw it, like specifically the stones, like all piled up
Mhm.
high, separated. And then I also would be more connected with like the experience, like peaceful, uh, refreshing. I would add the color white, blue. I think I'm not sure if I add any colors in here. I would add gritty.
You actually have blue
Oh, I
and
do
white.
have blue. Sorry.
Okay, but
Okay.
you came up with some, and that's the point I'm trying to teach everybody. There's always
Yeah,
a
but
little
I
more
would
you wish
draw
you would have
this.
done.
I would draw this
Yeah,
specifically as I'm actually going through this. I would actually draw it so that my
right.
subconscious would
Gee,
tell
this
me,
would have been nice, and this is how
okay,
I would do it, and
yes.
try to communicate it to
And
you, and you
there's two of
communicate
them
it
here.
back to me. Right.
Yeah, I would draw both of them.
hmm Yeah, two of them. Okay, good, good. Thanks, Ramel.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now, he gave it a 5.5. Let's talk about the Targ confidence ranking system. This was Russell Targ, one of the guys at SRI with Hal Puthoff, that really were the scientists that sort of turned this into a real remote viewing science. Um, and This is something that they came up with at SRI. Russell's name is the first one on it, so I call it the TARG's confidence ranking system. 0, 1, and 2. 0 is no correspondence. Turns out that's difficult. 1 is a little correspondence. Um, and then 2 is some correct elements. Okay, so you marked some A's or B's uh, match with. Remember, this goes for each of the two possible targets. So there are two of them. So you do this for each one of those. So no correspondence would mean, boy, you didn't get anything. You didn't mark 1A. Um, Now, 2 is at the level where it's basically you're saying it's random. You know, just by chance, you might have gotten one color, but you didn't get much else. Or you got one or two things where you put down 20 and you just don't feel that you really were there psychically at all. And it was basically chance. And so that's it. You give it a 2. None of us are perfect all the time. Um, um, 3 now is a mixture of correct and incorrect elements, but enough of the correct elements that you're feeling that you made contact, psychic contact with the target. So then you would give it a 3. Now a 4 goes further. It says good correspondence with several matchable elements intermixed with some incorrect information. Okay, so now you've gotten past sort of the just there, and you're now saying it's really good. We take 3.5. If you put a confidence ranking of 3.5, then we say it's wagerable. Um, typically the viewers go with the halves. Sometimes they'll go 3.99 or whatever, but mostly, we go with a half. And 3.5 is the line for wagerable. If you put down 3.5, it says your match was good enough, you were willing to put a few bucks on it, is the way I sort of summarize it. 3, you're just on the margin. Yeah, you had some psychic contact, but it's on the margin. Let's go for 3.5. And 4, you're feeling really comfortable. Now, a 5 goes to where it's really good. He's now added words, unambiguous, unique, matchable elements. And we saw those for sure in what Ramel just showed you, the volcanic rock, the ocean. He had lots of stuff in there that really made it clear that he had gone to the correct target. And that's what he said. 6, I keep pressing the wrong one. 6 gets to where this concept of analytical overlay, which is where your mental mind put something together. You didn't feel it came from your subconscious, and that's part of the work kind of we do, is to distinguish when the stuff is coming from your deep subconscious, um, um, through the matrix, through the universal collective consciousness, up into your conscious mind, or did somehow your analytical mind get in there? But sometimes the analytical mind is correct. It can name the function of the target, or sometimes it could actually name the target. It's when those things happen, the function or the naming, that you get up to 6 or 7. So Ramel didn't name that target. No, he said Hawaii, but we don't know if it was Hawaii, so he was just right to name it a 5.5. But let me tell you that different people judging it tend to be different by about 1. So there's no exact right way to do this. It's subjective, and you'll learn yourself what makes sense partially by the feedback that you get when you get to look at these things during the feedback session, like now. Now, a 4 is very good, strongly wagerable. Remember, 3.5 is minor. So when you get a 4, you should feel really good about getting a good match, and then of course a 5 and a 5.5, etc. So that's the Targ scale. The other thing I want to introduce before we go to the next one is that I'm doing in these a group prediction, and in app we have multiple groups with a group manager who always gives group predictions. What is most important is your personal prediction. The group prediction is really just isn't that important. It's the personal prediction. Yes, we want to put one out there, and we're trying to learn more and more about how to get even higher hit rates from group predictions. Haven't mastered that yet. I haven't, at least. I think maybe Scott's doing better than I am at that. But here is the people that were involved in the one we're just doing now, 929068. And here is a group manager. It was really easy because here are the confidence rankings. Okay, Ramel's 5.5 is here. There was a 6, but nobody could read his handwriting. And he's not here, and I knew he wouldn't be here, so I didn't use his. Anyway, you can see that I marked in yellow the ones that were over 4 or more. I didn't mark this 4 because it was only different from Lila by 1, but she got a very nice hit on this as well. But she also got matches with the other one. Now, when she does her feedback session, Lila, and I just didn't have time to show it and sort of talk about it more than I'm doing now, but you should go back and look at the judging to see if indeed you still think this was a 4 and a 5. And I think you will learn something about your judging. But if they were a 5 and a 4, then you're at the stage, as a lot of people are, including Evelyn on this one, where you're picking up information from the other target. A 4 says you had significant information. Here, Evelyn had what we would call a displacement. So she'll do her feedback session not paying attention to the other target at first, but then when she's done, she should go back and see if she still believes it's a 5.5. And if she does, she displaced. And she is now exactly at the point where she wants to use effortful methods. It's a challenge to figure out why she displaced. Why did she look at the other target? She didn't know what it was, and yet she did a really good description of the wrong target. So she didn't go to the feedback target. So that's so important, and it happens all the time because nobody's 100%, which means sometimes they're going to do a good description of the other target. Now, there are usually two reasons. One is poor judging. The other is, I probably should have passed. And the third is raw displacement. If this really was a 5.5, if it was as good on the other side as Ramel's was, that's displacement. And that is an opportunity for you to take on the challenge to get over that. Now, during the feedback session, and Ramel did very little of this, but for a while he said, oh, I didn't see a match with this or that. We have what's called the 5-second rule. It comes up in the feedback session when your mind goes to the other picture. During the feedback session, you don't want to think about the other picture at all. You want to stay focused and light up in consciousness space the actual target. But we're all human beings, and you do. So just like this started with food, most people have heard of this in one version or another. If with your kids, if food drops down, you say, hey, you've got 5 seconds, pick it up and you can still eat it. And the kids will do that, and it's sort of fun sometimes. Anyway, that's the 5-second rule. It started with food, but it works here as well. You want to get off anything which is negative during any of your sessions. The expression when life gives you lemons make lemonade, it's true. And so you go back to the feedback session in this case, but it works with the others with a more positive, fun, creative, interested attitude, and do this quickly. 5 seconds is certainly long enough. Okay, let's go on to the next one. And I don't have to go bring it up. I brought them up already. This is 881189. So this is feedback for this coordinate. This is the feedback in this case, and this was random. In this case, it's photo site B. We got a group miss, but some people got a hit. Just like there were some on both sides. Some people got a hit. Some people got a miss. For this one, I just chose Lila, who got a miss. And Lila, I know you well enough that you don't mind me pointing this out. Can you turn on your mic and we can talk about this one?
Yes, I have my mic on now. Thank you. And no, I do not take any of this personally. So
I know you don't, and that's why and nobody does, and no one should. Everybody misses in this business. But here I see you gave the other one a 4.5 and this one a 3.5. So now do the feedback for, which was B, for this one, and go ahead, just do a feedback session. I can give you access to the pointer. Would you like that? Or
sure.
not? Why don't you try that experiment? We're just starting to use that. So I'll
So this
give
was
you.
photo site A, correct?
No, this
Oh,
is photo site B.
oh, this is B.
So you
Okay.
got a miss. This was the one you gave a 3.5 to.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Well, now this was one of my very first, I think I did 3 or 4 sessions before this one, so I'm still new at this and didn't quite get it. I don't really have much to say.
Well, yeah, you do. I can see grass right there. Boy, that was a real nice one. Go put your pointer on grass
Oh, I guess so. Okay, there's grass. There's
and
fresh
feel really
air.
yeah, exactly. And feel really good about that stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay, and my colors green and red were there. Open space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, I'm getting better at my own judging, and I can clearly see where maybe I could have picked this one instead of the other. And look at how close my A's and B's were. They were so close together.
Yes,
The
point that
them
out at the bottom.
down here at the bottom.
I noticed that. Yeah, do you have the pointer or not?
I do have the pointer right here. Yeah, down here at the bottom.
No. Oh, okay, it's right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Notice
I
you
guess
had
I don't have the
16 and
pointer.
15.
Huh, okay.
So at there, but do you recall, now we're still in feedback section, but nevertheless, for 5 seconds, can you recall why you then gave A more?
No, if I saw the picture, the photo side of A, it might jog my
Okay.
memory. I don't remember what it
And I don't
was.
want you to do that yet. I am going
Oh,
to have you do that, but I don't
okay.
want you to do that yet. I want you to finish a normal feedback session. And so you've gone over the good stuff. You're feeling good about that. And I would
Well,
look at
so
something like metal.
yeah,
Why didn't,
yeah, my dynamics close together. The trees are close together in the picture,
right.
so that could have gone.
And also metal.
Sure.
How come metal doesn't have a B? Almost all
Oh,
umbrellas have metal in them.
well, yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
this, what you do, gee, look at that. I missed that. That would have made B even stronger.
right.
So you're learning about your judging now.
Right. B, or this photo site has brown, and I don't have a B near brown
Yep,
either,
yep.
so I missed that. Um, yeah, yeah, like I said, I'm picking it up as we go along and
And
getting better.
yep. And even this session is helping you. Do you see that? You see
Yes,
stuff that you missed, which next
yes,
time you're going to pay more attention to that sort of thing and miss less. And still from time to time, you're going to miss something. Again, we're
yeah,
all human. That's why
yeah,
nobody's 100%. Um, um,
right.
okay.
And now I've even taken it a step further, and I really dig deep into my feelings, my gut feeling, and I look at the two, and I just say, I ask myself, which one do I really, really think it is, regardless of the numbers, regardless of what I have. And so now I'm starting to tune into that, and I have had 3 hits in a row using that approach.
Okay.
So
I do see you wrote something here. I felt the fuel exhaust clouds. Okay, so that says something, but didn't know how to describe or draw them. Is that when is that describing what you drew here?
yes, yes, and the picture, I don't know what the picture of, was it the
Yeah, I'm going to show it in a minute. I just still
okay,
want to finish. But since you had that down on your sheet of paper during your feedback session, it's appropriate to be thinking about it and talking about it. But I look at that. That also looks like water,
sure,
right?
right,
I
right,
also saw something else here. Um, water, you didn't mark ways, but there was something called motion, moving, and you gave that to
moving,
A. And in a moment, we'll see there was a lot more moving, I think, in A. But, she's walking. They talk here about her walking. Um,
right,
and so,
right,
my point to you and for you to think about is had you done all these extra B's, you might have in fact passed on this one.
yes,
That
yes,
and might not have, but that's a thought. Okay, what would you have wanted to add to this, seeing
well,
this now?
so in my AOL I have people, there's one person right there,
Yep, yep.
duh.
Right.
Flowers,
You,
I mean, I could add the flowers because there's probably weeds with flowers in the grass.
and how
Can't
about the
see them, but
rainbow?
the rainbow,
How about a big
yeah.
arc?
I don't have that anywhere. I have the open space and the wide under my dimensions.
But I'm saying if you could have added something
Oh, if I
that would have been
add
so
something, yes,
distinctive at the feedback
yes,
session, you always want to say, okay, sub, this was great. Look, you gave me so much. It's wonderful. Thank you. Um, um, and, be positive with it. And we're working out this communication channel. It would have been cool if you had given me an arch,
right, right.
right?
Or
Wouldn't that have been something really kind of cool?
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's right. And laugh just like that. You see, because that helps the communication. Your sub knows it make you happy, and I believe that will improve the communication channel.
yes, yes, I agree.
Okay, so now on your sheet of paper, if you have it there, write
Hmm.
EOS end of session FB.
Okay,
See, on this one, you could have written just end of session, which by default is remote viewing, or you could write end of session remote viewing. Okay, so you're now done. Now let's do something which, in this case, with Mrs., I really do recommend. I'm now showing you, okay, we're out of our feedback mode. We're now more into an intellectual. Notice in the feedback mode, you really are focusing on this target, and part of your intention, because we've talked so much about it, is automatically, and you can add to it if you want, to be entangled with the remote viewing session, right? That sort of happens naturally. Um, and so you're in a bit of a psychic mode anyway, but you're also in a intellectual mode. I like to think of it as 50-50. But now let's go back into a judging mode. Now this was the other picture. Okay, so this explains here, and it explains a lot of your A's. It explains the medal,
oh yeah,
but you didn't put it here. Okay,
right, right.
um, and I
Also,
have a
the word feathery.
feeling. No, go
The
ahead.
word
In fact,
feathery could be on photosite B to notice the clouds. The clouds are feathery,
they are. They
so
are.
that could have been a B.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, yeah, I see.
Okay, but I can see why you gave. In fact, my feeling is that this statement you made right here, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't know when that came in, but you actually felt the fuel exhaust clouds. Did you smell them, or did you just get a small, strong feeling of clouds, or what?
I felt the feeling of clouds or something, but then photosite B has the clouds.
Exactly. Now, now,
So,
but let me just say, if what I'm about to tell you is correct, this is very important because it happens to so many people, and that's why I want to say it here, is you had that feeling of clouds. Here, the clouds is what drew your attention, these kind of a clouds, because they're so dynamic, and that's why you gave A, in spite of the count, you gave A much higher score.
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I-
And so it was really a judging error,
yes,
not
definitely.
not a.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, now this was a pass. The actualized side, remember, was yes or no. The actualized side, and I don't even know now if it was yes or no, was photo site 8. We're doing feedback now, and all that matters is this coordinate 300, 567, 300, 567. However, anyone who did this said it at remote viewing time. I should be saying it again now. It's photo site A. It's a group pass. This was a pass because there were good transcripts on both sides. Again, people either do the misjudging or displacement, um, or unknown unknowns. Well, in fact, displacement really encompasses unknowns. So let's see. Is John here? Let's see. John Allen is not here. Okay, so I will make believe I'm John. I'm looking at this. I think I said, wait. Yeah, okay, so photo site A, so he got a personal hit. So I'm showing someone who got a personal hit. John sometimes comes to these, so I think that's why I chose him. But he got a personal hit, and let me do the session. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I remember that. That was the one I went for. Let me see what went on here. Now you can see what he did. He uses colors, but nevertheless, he marks all of the individual ones. He didn't do a count, though I think doing a count is a good thing, but just looking at this, it's obvious that the count is more. Um, um, yeah, coarse, sure. Oh boy, yeah, yeah. Soft part, okay, the side is soft, yeah, and smooth. I'm not sure I'd call it soft now, but I'm glad I did then. Orange, yeah, yeah. Yeah, orange reddish, sure, sure. Man-made object, oh yeah, I feel good about that. Reddish color. Curved surface, uh-huh, uh-huh. Look at the curves there, oh yeah. See, and I'm emphasizing these curves in my feedback, and I'm really taking this picture in even much stronger than I would have done at judging time, which was very intellectual. I might have noticed it, but now I'm really getting into it, sharing with my subconscious, who's sharing it with the remote viewing session. Curved, yeah, I got a lot of curved. Yes, yes. Yeah, well, these that I didn't mark, okay, I guess I still won't mark them. Um, Now it's interesting over here that I got a bio and I got a subject. For me, subjects means a bio, and it was a bio here, but I didn't get any reinforcement of that. I feel really good about that. I feel good that I didn't go with the bio. Um, okay, this is good. Okay, if I had to add something to this, I probably would like to add something like jagged, 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 jagged for the saw. That might be the only thing I think I would add. Though right now I'm feeling like a ping. Had I used my finger and touched it, it would ping. I don't know, but that's just what I felt like doing. And so I did it. So that's, I think, enough. Maybe the word would. Okay, very good. I feel good about this session. Thank you, subconscious. Thank you. EOS, feedback. For this one, it's not clear that John would have any interest in going back and seeing the other. I did it here just to explain the bio. Um, um, and I happen to know John well enough that in the past, when he got bio here, it really meant to him strongly. And I really wanted to congratulate him on basically getting all this other stuff and going with A. In fact, I think during the webinar, he said that that's what he did because there were so many other matches and he felt uncomfortable about it. But that's what he did because his subconscious gave him so many matches with this one. Okay. So that's feedback. Any comments? Good, you guys are doing things in the chat box. Anybody want to make about the feedback time? Useful. I guess I should take control back from Al. Okay, let's see. I don't know how to get. Oh, do I have to remove your? Interesting. Okay, wait, hold on. Oh, okay. So you maybe you gave it back to me. Okay, let's go on, and now we'll begin to do this month-long prediction. So here's our change of pace. it's sort of interesting. I don't know, everybody has their own way of doing predictions, but as soon as I even know I'm getting ready to do a prediction, I just stretch like I'm stretching now. Um, just because you're getting into a very different mindset. And even though I'm going to give you a little more intellectual stuff, again for the newbies, um, you're about to go into a very different mindset. This is your very quiet mindset where you're listening. This is your psi-Personality mindset where you're getting information from your subconscious, who's getting it from the universe of collective consciousness, where the real target is. Um, so, we're about to do this knowing that we're connecting up with the feedback session. So, and we're doing this on purpose. So we're about to do our remote viewing session. The tasking is very clear. Describe and or sketch your feedback target that's associated with the coordinate. And I'm going to show you how we get that coordinate shortly. When we say describe and sketch, you saw really good examples of that in the transcripts. They tend to be the kind of words that, I don't know what age group, but maybe 4, 5, 6, you told them to describe something. They would know the name of it, but they'd certainly tell you colors. If it was something which smelled, it might be aromatic. They'd know tastes. Certainly they would know dimensions, the shapes. They would be able to draw something like it. They would have, if it had sounds there, they'd be hearing the sounds. Ooh, that sounds metallic. Oh, look at the water dripping, that sort of thing. Low-level words like that. They even could be amazed by what you showed them. They would have what's called aesthetic impact. They could be sad by it. They could be happy by it. They could laugh at it. So those are the typical kind of words. And then sketches are very important as well. Usually you get partial images, pieces, as you saw. The sketches tend to be pieces of the picture. It's rare to get the whole picture. You get one aspect or another. Sometimes you might only get, one curve or, a bunch of straight lines if there are a bunch of straight lines in there. What does usually tend to come up are the things that at feedback time hit you first. Because again, you're connected with the feedback, and so what you get at feedback time, what comes in first, maybe a dominating color, or sometimes an emotion, or active, or very quiet and peaceful. But whatever comes in first tends to come in first in your remote viewing session as well, and it tends to be the big picture stuff. And then you get additional stuff coming in pretty quickly as well. This, and you should be doing this right now, this idea of intention, attention, and expectation, they're so important. Joe McMonagle, probably the best well-known public remote viewing and the best public remote viewing in the world, and Ed May, the guy who seems to have studied this more than anybody else as far as I can, and studied the literature, and he got involved with the SRI people when right after Hal Puthoff left. He was there more years than Hal. Concluded this, that intention, attention, and expectation play a very important role in the success of both application and research. So what we're doing is the application. And so you should be setting your intention now. I'm going to get the match with the feedback target. I'm going to be paying attention to what my sub gives me. And I expect to get a good match. I'm at my feedback session and I'm going to see all these really good matches. It's going to be really good. Okay. And then we know the cue, describe and sketch. We're going to get the coordinate very shortly. I want you to get in a happy mood because it helps emotions. Why not be in a positive mood? And let's go get the coordinate now. So I, as the tasker, tasked this earlier today, 11:45. I just didn't want to take time doing it. But this is a typical task that you would get, and it has the group name. I hope all of you are in groups, and if you're not, contact me and I'll get you in a group. But here it's this group. Oh no, wait, I'm back down there. I'm sorry. I want to be here. Here I am. So this is the new coordinates and task for the webinar workshop. And here's the question. So as a tasker, I put in the questions you saw before. Will the SPY close over 246 on September 18th? So that's the task. In many ways, that really doesn't matter. In fact, I've had a couple of people tell me they would prefer not to even know what the task is, to be totally blind, because you're just going to describe and sketch your feedback. How do you get your coordinate? Again, it's easy. You get a due date and which was today for this, and when the event will be done, and then you click. And we get a page like this, which again, let me make big, which is asking for your personal email. I'm doing it again for the group, so a month from now I'll be able to do it. Here is the group we're doing. It's highlighted. And we're going to do one coordinate. Some people like to do two, but we're just going to do one in these classes. And then you click here. Again, it's very user-friendly. And then you get a page like this. And so for the first time, we now have our coordinate. It's 774869. So I'd like you all right now to get out your sheet of paper, and on the top put 774869. Even say it out loud now. Every chance you get, when it comes up, when you write it again, say it out loud. It just, everything is sensed through your body. And that's how it gets down to your subconscious. And your subconscious comes back through your nervous system to give you all of its responses. So your body is the intermediary, your body and the I-psi. So your body is the physical part, your I-psi personality is really the non-physical part. Okay, so we're getting close to, and I'm going to set you up to do your session. I know some of you old guys have probably started already. After your session, the next thing that has to be done in this protocol is we upload your personal transcript just by browsing, and we'll talk about that after you do your session. So let me go back here. Now, where wait a second. What did I lose? I lost my PowerPoint. It's got to be here. Okay, so we started. And I've asked you to put your coordinate here, put your name, the date, and the time. Now, we've talked about, and if anybody wants this template, a lot of people just make their own and Xerox it, but I'm happy to send you this template. When you start your session, you will do your coordinate again, you'll write it, and you saw on some of those, I'm sorry I didn't point it out, what's called an ideogram or a pictogram, and you write the coordinate, say it out loud, and then in maybe 2 or 3 seconds, kind of spontaneously, almost like a doodle, again, coming from your subconscious, you don't think about it, you just do it, you'll get a ideogram or a pictogram. Most people put it there if they do it. Not even everybody does it. Some people don't do it. And then there's places here for your sketches, some of the big picture stuff and images that come up first. All of those tend to go in the middle, at least in this format. And you'll see people eventually come up with their own way. And this is for those mental analytical overlays. Most of the time, if they come from the intellect, they're not correct. Sometimes they are. That's what gets you up to 6 and 7s. But you put them over here. So this is a way you distinguish. Yes, that came from my intellect. I write it here. Sometimes there's other junk that just comes in. You put it over here, it gets rid of it. It allows you then to go quiet again, go down. You know, people go down several times. They write something on their page, go down quietly again and get something, and they put it on their page, and that's how they generate a transcript. Okay, the cool down is where you get rid of the intellectual ego chatter, that sort of thing, and you kind of empty your mind of all that stuff and open it up for the communication of the subconscious information where you know the target information is, and then it passes it on to your conscious mind so that you can generate your transcript. And so that's where you keep your intention. So you just get quiet and you listen. You're basically being a witness using your psi now that you've been building, training, working with, and all you do is listen. Okay, so we're going to do it. Your cue is describe and sketch your 774-869 feedback target. And I have a HemiSync link that some of you may want to use. It's here. How can I get it to you? Actually, I'm going to click on it. I know some of you have already started. I'm going to click on it and then turn it off here. I'll put it in the chat box if any of you want to use it. And the idea of this is to get quiet. It has a 5-minute notice part. Typically people do cool downs for a few minutes, sometimes more, sometimes less, but I don't want you to go to full 10 minutes without putting something on your paper. And then there's a 1-minute notice near the end. So have some good precognition, get quiet, do your cool down, and I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, come on back to your normal waking state. Let me see if I can turn this off. Okay, again, stretch a little. Let's see. And we're about to go into the analysis judging phase, which is very intellectual. So, that's why you want to stretch a little. If you're at home, people might even do another little task or something, but you want to get into what, maybe before was a 90%, I don't know what to call it, well, psi-Personality, psychic, but even this is psi-Personality, so we have to be kind of careful in the language we use, because your psi-Personality is there during the judging too, but the intention is to be much more intellectual about it. During the remote viewing session, you are much more in tune and just witnessing from your subconscious. Okay, so let's talk about analysis judging, and we'll do it. So the idea is you're going to see 2 transcripts shortly, and I'm going to again get that from the internet. We'll go back to where we were. We did the Targ scale, and that's what you're going to be using here, and I'll have it on there. Here's this little cartoon I use to make the key point that your subconscious doesn't give you an exact match. That's just so rare to be ignored. Some of the best viewers that have been doing it forever for the military, after they do 15 pages, might come pretty close, and we have seen examples of that. But generally, that's not the case. Generally, if it was a woodchuck and you said it was a beaver, that's terrific. And if you drew something that looked like either of those, that would be a really good match. Obviously, ink drawing, these are way too close. The point is you can be a lot further from this. A small orange versus a tangerine is an obvious analogy, metaphor, resemblance, but perhaps, and this is where judging comes in, how about a peach? How far away? If it's a fruit, that might be close enough. Might be close enough to give it a small a versus a big A, for example, or maybe a big A. This is where the judging comes in, and you'll learn how your subconscious works. Okay, so let's go back to this guy. And now, normally, after you do your transcript, you're now in a position to upload this. Most of you know what that means. It's simply, if you take a picture of it with your smartphone, or you might have a fax that goes to your computer, but one way or another, you need to get your transcript on your computer so that you can simply upload it to our server. And that then is part of the permanent record, and you will have access to that as well in the future, along with your comments and the feedback target. So what I do, because I don't do these, I have what's called a dummy. Let me see here. Okay, I know it's in here. think it's called bookmark.txt. No. Well, let me look for it. See, this is how you would look for your transcript. It would be in your file system, wherever you put it. Wow, it looks like mine disappeared. And I'm in Documents. So, okay, let's find something else that will work. Okay, it'll upload text files, RTF files. You mostly do JPEGs, sometimes PDFs, so I'm just putting in a dummy one. And then once you do that, you just hit submit. Again, this is for some people, the most difficult part, but then once you've done it once or twice, it becomes simple. And then you just click submit. And I have an error. That's the first time this has ever happened to me. I am really upset. Did I do it?
Marty, that's what happened to me right after you redid the software. Everything I did on that transcript glitched, and I had to do it 2 or 3 times. So it was maybe it's
okay. It turned out I did do something a little bit different on this. I'm going to get you. You're going to get to see now the guts of some of this. Let me see if I'm going to grep www. I'll get to show you the pictures, but I'd like to do it in the regular way. I'm going to grab webinar workshop. That's what we're called. You're now seeing the way when I have to, I look at the server. The database, which has everything, is here. Okay, so here are the 2 pictures. They got chosen randomly by the computer. The next step is to put in the confidence rankings, but to get that, I need the page. Okay, I tell you what I'm going to do. Here are the 2 pictures. Here's photo site A. I'm going to give them to you, and then while you're judging, how do you like this for real-time work? So this is the first picture. Again, this was randomly chosen by the computer, but of course it stores what they are, and they're called PS for photo sites. Isn't that clever? So I'm doing a copy of that, and let me put that here. I'll put them in a Word document. Well, wait, first I have to bring them up. Let me bring it up. That's not it. Actually, okay. Okay, so I'm going to put that in here. Okay. So that is one of them. And I'm going to copy it and put it in here. So I want to put them side by side. Okay. And then the other one is here. Well, you see, you guys really get to see, maybe unfortunately. So let me copy this one here as well. I don't want to do a search. Why is that coming up like that? Why am I having so much trouble? Oh, because I have this extra crap in there. God. Oh, and this comma there. See, I'm trying to move too fast now. Okay, so here is this fireplace. And let me copy that in the Word. Okay, so this one is A. If it'll let me move them around. Ah, this is really terrible. And recorded for posterity. Yeah? What? I'm in my webinar. What is it?
How will you fix your Monday? What do you have going
Monday,
Monday?
I can't believe this. Hold on, I'll check my calendar.
He's just checking his calendar.
I'm in the middle of a webinar here and having some problem. Okay, well, you saw the two pictures, guys, but they're in the opposite order, but you can start your judging.
So A would be the ocean.
A was the ocean, B is the fire.
B is the fire.
A is the ocean, B is the fire. I'll organize them. Okay, here's my calendar. Let's see, the date, Monday. I do. I have a webinar starting at 11. Could he come early? He could either come early. Oh, it's Shane. Oh, he can talk early in the morning or after 2 o'clock. Sorry, guys. Let me move this way down. Go up here. Okay, that's good. Now we have them on two different pages, so you should be seeing them on two different pages. And this one is photo site A. And this one is photo site B. Okay. I would like to bring up for you the Targ scale as well. And here's the Targ scale. So let's see. Okay. So can I make that smaller, but not that small? Okay, so you've got a screen now that'll let you do your judging. Do the A-B approach that we talked about, and then upload it to my email, and then we'll look at them. And my email is, you all know those, but I'll put it in the chat box just to make it a little easier. Okay, and I will now see if I can figure out what was happening here. Okay. Okay, and then, right, thank you, Ramel. Yeah, stuff happens. I'm certainly not a professional programmer, and yet I do the programming. I see your comment, Lila. But this still seems to be rare enough that it's not a major problem, because when it happens to you, you're upset, and that's the way it is. But I have figured it out. So this is the page that comes up, and of course it's got the same two photo sites, potential targets. And in the chat box, Ramel has put what I'd like each of you to do. He has done his judging. He did it. I'm sorry. Thank you, Ramel. You did it private to me. In the chat box, you can send to me what your confidence rankings are for photo site A and what the confidence ranking is for photo site B. So all you have to do is put a CRA and then a number, CRB and a number, or you could some people just put A in the number and B in the number, and that's right. And then what I'm doing is I will put together a compilation so I can make the group prediction. Okay. Take your time. This is, it's from here where a wager is determined. It's from here where you've already seen so many examples of people missing things. So you want to take your time and do this one carefully so you feel comfortable with it. Thank you, Evelyn. And Ramel and Evelyn, send along your transcripts. We'll take a look at those. And that's valuable because you get a sense of what it's like to judge other people's transcripts, which some people do. Okay, I think what I will do is bring up, those of you who are judging, take your time. Don't let this interfere. I think you've seen enough of the picture that you can do the judging, so I'm going to bring up one of the other transcripts. And if you want to see the other pictures, you just let me know, because you've got priority. The judging right now has priority. Oh, I see you uploaded your transcript before you judged it, Lila, huh?
Sorry about that. I'll send you the one after I judge it.
I think that'd be better, because I actually use those for the follow-up, for the feedback. Then it's in my system.
Okay.
So it is better. Thank you. Okay, so I have Ramel's here.
Should I start?
Just wait a minute. I don't want them to see how you judge it. Everybody's got to judge theirs totally independently. So let's just wait another minute or so. I didn't figure out how to take the controls back. That was really strange. It's not giving me the option to do that. I was going to do you. Let me see if I can stop controls with you. Oh, I bet if I turn off keyboard and mouse, then you'll lose it. But you'll keep it because you'll be able to use it for now. Okay, why don't you start? And again, it's very important for the two of you who are still doing it to totally do it independently. So just keep doing your judging. But just in the interest of time, we've already been at this 2 hours and 15 minutes.
So shortly.
Yeah, Ramel, so why don't you start?
Okay. I did my usual thing. I do my own before you give the coordinate.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's really cool. Rising up gently.
Well, let me explain that to people. They don't understand that. This technique is ARV and all that is so powerful, and this idea of intent and expectation is so powerful. He really didn't need the coordinate, though I hope once you got it, you said, yeah, I can see you put it down here. So you did eventually get it and say it out loud. But he started his first page intending it to be whatever the feedback target is going to be for the coordinate that he was about to get. And that's fine as long as you're absolutely clear on your intention. All of this works. In fact, he's done this a few times now and gotten hits every time. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So the description is amazing. So it says here, rising up, gently suspending high and lowering,
let me show
angling, and angling and swiftly. First page.
Right.
Go to first page.
No, I want you have control. What I want to do.
Oh, I have control now?
Yeah, you should have control, except I'm trying to get the,
wait,
give me a second here. I'm trying to get the pictures so everybody will know what you're talking about. There you go.
I'm talking about the fire.
Yeah.
Fire. And so that's really cool. And then this part on here, this can be an A or a B because there's a lot of dust and all that stuff in here. But this part, like the, I even called it metallic gray fence. I even call it fence, I know this part is like this way,
right?
But I drew it this way, but it's really quite interesting. And then I know there's like this fluid, I call it fluid, that's why I get A as well.
Right.
But this could be fluid in terms of the atmospheric fluid. Whitish, grayish, What else?
But you didn't
So
judge it that way,
that's
which is good.
yeah. It's just
Yeah.
man-made. So that's a B for me.
Right.
There's a sense of urgency because it's really, really, to me, this is more urgent than this one. So I call it like a B,
Mm-hmm.
capital B. Um, Possibly calamitous, which is more on this part. So this is cool. This is really neat as well. Like I find it, the orange part in here, and let's call it power source significant. So this big thing, this is orange, and this is definitely orange, and this power, which is quite significant.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
page 2 is when I start the coordinate. So you'll see, Marty, it's not okay. It takes a while to go up.
Yeah.
You'll see that my description is also somehow connected to this, as I read it: downward movement and radical upward jitter, and downward sharply and thinly. So this is almost like describing the flame. And this one is interesting. Just like I saw like a black, it looks like a black eagle bird kind of thing, but that's looks like more of this part, the blackness to it. This is interesting. B, strong geometrical shape on here. And then I saw this as solid, and then there's something underneath, which is exactly like this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely a B, and there's a shadowy shape as well. And then this is more categorized, more defined on the next sketch as this part, the blocking, gritty. So that's rectangular, thick. It's not doing up.
It's just slow. Yeah, I can do it faster. There you go.
Oh yeah, thank you. And then so this is quite interesting. When you look, when I this is like my own way of looking at things. This is more to me. It makes the image bigger. So this is more bigger. So to me, this is more connects to B than this one, because this is more larger. So it's like this is more close up. So
But you didn't rank it that way, so
yeah, that's kind of like my way. And
yeah,
then
you're thinking that now. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then so this is like interesting. This kind of tells me about
Oh yeah.
the shape of this pluming of all stuff, and then I call it iridescence, glowing, colorful, and I try to taste it, and it says I call it I burned my tongue.
That is nice and
I know it was a B with a star.
wow.
Yeah. Although the A smells natural, but this can also smell natural. This is like sputtered all around places. This is called both. I guess both of them are. But this is quite interesting. The spreading and the pluming, all that part. This connects
Yeah.
more on this part. So that's why I give this like a. Is that the end? Yeah. So that's why I
Okay.
gave it.
Okay, that's really good. Really, I saw really good, strong stuff there.
Yeah.
And you did do this as an A, so you weren't overwhelmed. I see you put a B down here. um,
Yeah.
I don't
Because of
know.
this, just
I think
it's like it's
you might have
blooming.
just yeah. Okay.
But
By the time you got
watching the
down this
pages
far,
like this,
and this is, you got to be really careful. You get so overwhelmed, you're convinced it's B. Often
I
people
know.
will stop judging it independently.
Windy. This is more like windy than this one.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's good. Let's see who's the next one. I just do these sort of in order. There's Ramel. Okay, looks like Lila. I think that's the one that's judged. Yeah, it's over here. Let me move it from my other screen. Okay. And let me get this one up. There you go, Lila. Tell us about
Okay.
this one.
Well, this one was tough as well. I had, I think, good descriptions for both of them.
Yeah.
But what I do, for me personally, is I go with my very first impressions. And that was my ideogram of the circle of the oblong oval there with an A next to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dimensions are almost all A except for the one B. And my textures are mostly A's. I just was leaning more toward photosite A.
Yes, you were, the way you judged it. I'm just looking at it now, and let's
Yeah.
see if I, and again, remember, people differ by one all the time. And I mean, obviously, and you judge that right. Cooked, yeah, smoky. Outdoors, that would definitely be A. But I'm looking at your sketches. The oval, you took that to be more like what, the
The cloud.
clouds?
And look at my AOL clouds.
Yeah, yep, yeah,
It's my first AOL.
yeah.
And then the squiggly line down there is the water to me.
Mm-hmm. So that's certainly, if it turns out to be the other one, we're going to say, oh yeah, that was the flames. And this could be either, but you've marked that
Yeah,
as either, right?
right, right.
Oh, you've got hot.
Yeah, I've got hot, but then look at my dynamics. Watery, curvy, flat plane in
Yeah,
my dynamics.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Moving through air. I mean, that could be the fire as well, but it's more the clouds are moving through air.
Well,
That's
yeah,
the
you got clouds. What else
feeling.
is really strong?
Um, the textures, bumpy, knobby, knurls. That's the water of the sand. It's bumpy. The sand is flat in one place, but it's also got footprints in it. So to me, it's bumpy. And knobby and knurls,
Jiggling. You
that's the
got, yeah, you got words
water.
that could be true for both. Moving,
I know.
moving.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then look at my score down to the very left at the bottom. I have A. I have 29 descriptions for A, and I have 22 for B. So that's so close.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
interesting. I think you really need to work on blocking out the judging session because this is the only time you'll see two.
yeah.
Blocking that out somehow because I have seen this and you've seen this enough that maybe it is an issue. Or just positively do more, focus on the feedback and know that with your intention. But let me get that in the table. I don't know, you might have sent it to me, but
I put it in the chat box.
yeah. By then I was still working other stuff. So it was a 4.5 and a 3. Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you, Lila.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And you certainly got, it's like, yeah, I'm psychic. I just wish I would have more of the correct picture and not so much of both. And you're not alone. Okay, let's do Evelyn. Okay, good. So there you are, Evelyn. And then let me get up the pictures. And let's see if I can make you even a little bigger here since nope, it looks like that's as big as we're going to get. Okay, Evelyn, you've got a mic, right?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yep, hear you just great.
Okay, do I have the mouse or?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. That's good. Let me give you the mouse. Yep, give keyboard and mouse. You should have it now.
Okay, well, I was kind of like Layla. I almost did a pass on this one, but the thing of it is the first thing I saw was this shape right here. And I mean, I actually saw that shape, and then it sort of morphed into having like wings on the side. But I saw this shape. I would call that an alien head because I'm kind of into UFO stuff. So if I was going to name it, I would call it an alien head. And that's actually the shape that I first saw. And then it kind of had wings on it. So I drew wings, a little bit of wings here. But what I really felt like was the word pinching or grasping, like like something being pinched together, which is what these chairs do. So it fits that. And the idea of wings came. It was almost like it was something coming out of the water, like an insect hatching out of the water or something. And I tried to not go into that, but that's the grasping and the pinching and the coming out was kind of where I was going with that. So I put wings there, and then the word mustache came. I don't know where that fits exactly, but that came. And so then I closed my eyes and did another drawing, and that was the one where I really think it was kind of like this thing here, because it was like something waving back and forth, and I couldn't exactly draw it, but it was like something that was moving back and forth, and so that's what I put, something
And
waving back and
boxy-like.
forth. So that kind of fits this more than than B, but actually the waves. So I've got the word wave there, and moving. So I gave it an A as well, but the actual drawing fits more with B, and the idea of turning, that was in there too, and of course waves turn and the fire turns, so that fits either one. And this drawing as well, this could be the clouds over there, or it could be the fire coming up. So that one fits both of them. And then I got the words radiating and out. Oh, and I got water before that. So water I got when I was making this drawing. So of course that fits that one. And then I got radiating and radiating out. That was actually all supposed to be one word, radiating out. And then the alive and the hatching I wrote afterwards. That was when I had finished everything and I was ready to send it in. I put that on. So those are probably more AOLs than anything else. But this was the last, I always try to get, one last, and often when I do that, I will get the opposite picture in that I noticed from this one to this one is quite often the opposite picture. So that one, it was like it was cut in half like that, and it was radiating out like a bright sun or something. So it's definitely that. But also, water can, if you look at it, the water radiating out would fit as well, although this fits more with the fire. So I gave it a big B and a little A. So when I added them all up, just like Layla, they actually weren't that far apart, but I went with that first impression that I had, which is the alien head on the beach. And so I went with that one, but I could easily have made it a pass.
Yeah. And you know what? Just what you went through and just what Lila went through, if it turns out it's the other way or whatever, eventually you're going to get the sense, you know what? I'm in one of these things again. Maybe these weren't good draws of pictures, and that's why I'm getting them both, or for whatever reason. They certainly look different, and yet, as you're going through it, you can see how in many aspects they're not.
The only color I got was gray, which fits right there. With the gray, and I got that sometime after this. But I mean, the gray and that definitely fit the beach.
I see it. I can't argue with it. I sometimes wonder if a sub intention and almost tasking would be really focus on giving me the feedback target picture with things which are very different from the other one.
Well, and I have to say one more thing. You don't have to put it back up, but up in the gestalts, most of the gestalts kind of didn't really fit much, but the last two, one was taken and one was love. Well, anybody sitting in front of a fire, they could be loving that, or you could be loving being at the beach. So that fits. But the taken, that is exactly something from alien stuff.
Right. And
So
the
the
head.
taken thing could be the alien. That was one thing that kind of made me lean towards A, was that where I had that word
Yeah.
taken, and that has to fit alien. Anyway, that's it.
Okay. That's okay. I get it. Now, what's interesting is there was another person here. She didn't, well, several actually, but they didn't do any more sessions. So here's the summary. Um, let me get it big so you can see it. And let me do some of my judging here. Okay. Um, you see, these are far enough apart that, for me anyway, so I've got 2 on this side, 1 on this side. The 5 um, was strong. Lila, you gave yours a 4.5, but there was a lot of, you talked about them being so similar and everything. I'm not sure I would have given it a 4.5. I certainly would have given it a 4, though. Um,
Marty, I'm
yeah,
fine with giving it a 4.
yeah, I understand, but okay.
Yeah.
And as I say, we're all different um, by 1 or so. But even with this one being so high, these 2 on the other side, I mean, it's going to be a pass. And what matters is the personal anyway. So as a group, I'm going to pass. In fact, I'm going to write here, this is a group pass. Um, Potentially you each may want to do something. I don't even know which side is which yet, so we'll find that out next. Um, Let me put the coordinate in here just because. Not that usually I just need what I have in my email, but occasionally I go back to the webinar to get information. Okay, so now the next step is to go into the confidence ranking. And again, you would be doing this as an individual. I'm doing it now for the group, acting as an individual. So for A, I would give it, I could give it you see, you only have so many choices. But in fact, I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a 4.5. And then I'm going to give this one, instead of the 5, I give it a 4.5, which makes it a pass. So that's as opposed to the kind of pass where there'd be like a 2.5 and a 3, which an individual might get. That says, both of them were just not wagerable. This says we had wagerable sessions, but for one reason or another, they were too close. I want to make it a pass. In fact, let me say that in here. So, good sessions on, um, you know, I just really just need to learn how to just go at my normal pace. But good sessions on both sides. Um, so pass, a group pass. So a group pass. CR A's of 4 and 4.5. CRB of 5. Okay. And then we submit. And now for the first time, we see photo site A. You probably can't read that, but the system who did all this randomly up to right now, nobody knows. So Let me get it so I can read it. Okay, so this says photosite A was randomly associated with down, and photosite B with up. Down means no, up means yes. So you can see the order here. Usually I change it, but I didn't change it this time. You saw I put it in 5 minutes before. I was a bit rushed. But anyway, that is what it means. But we passed, but photosite B is in fact yes. So for you, Ramel, the answer would be yes. Okay. Oh, I see. And the event wasn't, I did this fast and I actually know what I did now, and you can't see the event, but we indeed can go back to the event and then we'll finish this off. So A was no, B was yes. And we now can go back to the event, and I can put in here that we did a pass. And will the price be under 246 on September 18th? Okay, so that indeed is the prediction. And I could actually quickly look up the price now because I happen to have that here. It's 247.31 at this very instant, but you can see it's struggling with 246. And we were interested at the time, was it going to be above 248 or below 246 a month from now? So you said it'll be below. The other just said, we don't know. When you get a no, you don't know it's going to be up. All you know is it's not going to be under. So I guess that does mean it's going to be over 246, but we don't know about the 248. Okay, let me finish off the PowerPoint stuff here. It looks like all that is open is this guy. And we're like down here. We did that. And then my closing remarks basically are, again, getting back to your personal psi-personality. What's so wonderful about this perspective, before I used to say you create your precognition, but you, I think as we all appreciate, is really very ambiguous. What is you? You know, what are really your boundaries? Are they as you define them, or are you in fact, as I think I believe and we all believe here, you're really a lot greater than you normally think of yourself as being? You're certainly greater than your physical body. You're certainly greater, say, in the future when you get wiser than you might be right at this moment. Do you include you in the you of the future? I psi is all of that. I psi now is the you as big as you can imagine your psychic self, as big as you can make yourself, because it was the I psi that was doing the remote viewing. It's the I psi that does the feedback session. And so it's this I psi using your, again, maybe I should go there. The terminology here gets very difficult, but that's the area we're working with. But it's this conscious awareness, intention, attention, expectation, emotions, beliefs, all the stuff that's involved in this. And it's all connected in a very mysterious, complex, wondrous system. And then your present life experience are, and here I used your because we know you've got multiple personalities. This is one of them, but it's one of them completely entangled with your life as you're living it now, with your future life experiences. And I certainly am seeing more and more, becoming more aware of more and more precognitive things happening in my life. And how can it not connect? You know, all of your personalities are connected. Everything's connected. Everything goes through the UCC. Okay, so with that, you know, best wishes for health, wealth, and wisdom. And I really believe this work that we're doing facilitates that.
Hey, Marty.
Mm-hmm.
I never got the feedback on the 206639, which we did on 522. It was something that was going to close on 623. I'm real curious about that one.
Well, let me go and see if we've
It was a group pass, but I'm just wondering. I was leaning to A.
Well, you've come to all of them, so we probably didn't do it.
I don't think we did because it was just before the conference that one would have come due, and you were too busy doing the conference.
Yeah, I get busy. But you should know, it's like I like it. Here, let's just look it up now. Okay, so what number was it? Oh, it's a coordinate.
We did it on 522, and the thing was due on 623, and the coordinate was 206639.
We did it. Wait, it was due 623?
Yeah. So that one, well, that says 623 is hit, but we did a pass on that one. The group did a pass on it, so
you have to give me, yeah, see, and I have a different coordinate. What coordinate did you say?
It's 206639.
Okay,
what about?
We haven't done that one yet. It's right here. You see?
Okay.
You see it here?
Yeah. So can we find out what it really was?
Did it close over 2400 on June 22? Well, why don't we? Well, okay, you can know now, but you won't know what the picture is. I'm going to do that. That'll be the next one. See, it's the next one up in line. I will do that one next.
All right. That'd be great.
Just wait. Yeah, we'll do that one at the next webinar.
That was cactuses and ships. That's what it was.
Yeah. Okay. And we got a hit. No, it was a pass. So, and I don't know which way it is or anything. It was a pass. So we're still all blind.
And I was leaning to A, but I think I did a pass on it too.
So, any other questions, comments? Okay, so why don't we...
Thank you, Marty.
Yeah, why don't we close this now? And I thank you all for coming. And you do keep precogging.